the process of successful trading requires so many different areas of focus, right? And you have to refine those areas of focus over time, from entry signal to trade management, to self-regulation, to trading psychology, to account size management, to business planning, to all of these things, like all of these components. At first, traders don't think the problem is here. They think the problem is on the screen. The problem is not on the screen. It's not with your technical indicators or with your ability to read price. I could teach a monkey to read price pretty quickly. It's usually issues here that hold you back from moving to the next level, right? On these trending days, well, this is right from Brian. He says you don't buy the rip, don't buy a stock that's ripping higher. You also don't buy the dip. What you do is you anchor a VWAP to that high from the rip. And when the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, is broken from that high, that is the signal that buyers have stepped back into that asset. Now we ripped, we dipped, and now buyers are back in control. That's when we begin to participate. And we just use basic higher lows for stop loss. If the previous higher low is taken, we cut that trade. You can't look at losses as failure, everybody. But school and your parents and society has trained you to think you lose, you fail. You're wrong, you fail. In trading, you're going to be wrong, and it's going to be a great day. Welcome to trading, everybody.
Welcome back to the Unpacking the Markets podcast. Now, before we kick off, can I please ask you to subscribe to this channel so that we can continue to grow and help traders worldwide? Let's get into it. Okay, Austin Silver FX, thank you so much for coming on. Big fan, and I want to kick off by talking a little bit about your journey to your kind of current level of success, right? And more importantly, why did you want to become a trader?
That's a great question. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here. I definitely want to start that by telling a little bit about my story. But the basic answer is I got into trading for freedom, and specifically time freedom, more than even like financial freedom. That's second, but time freedom being first. And the ability to work anywhere I wanted. As I mentioned to you before we started the recording, my wife really likes to travel, as do I. Like, it just keeps me invigorated. You get energy when you travel to new places. And there's not many careers, especially before COVID, when everybody was working from home. There weren't many things you could do as a work from home thing, but trading kind of checked that box. So it was very appealing to me.
Yeah, very true. I feel people forget how much COVID changed things. But
I tell everybody that I was working from home when it was cool to work from home, not when everybody's been doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And when you started, I read that, like a lot of people, you had challenges in kind of getting to that profitability level. So
yeah.
So how was that journey from going from, I guess, starting to the classic challenges you face when you try and become profitable?
I think I took longer than most. It took me 2.5 years to finally have 6 months of more green than red. So it took me a lot of learning. It cost me over $40,000 in losses of real capital because I had no education. Like, truly, I think everyone would agree that when they get started, they know they are missing information, but I had nothing. Like, I was in college to get a communications degree. I wasn't in finance. I had worked as a life insurance salesman for a financial institution here in the States, but that's not teaching you day trading or teaching you anything like that. So I lacked a lot of education, which, you know, when you're in that position, you have to kind of go at it with the right mindset. And my mindset was always consume as much as I can, try to decipher if I like it or if I'm just learning what not to do, right? I look at every situation in life like that. Either you're learning what to do or what not to do. So with that perspective, I was able to kind of push through some of those initial months and years, even of really just eating it bad, bro. And like questioning all the time of like, why am I trying to do this? But then going back to that why of like, this checks every single box that I want for my life and my future. And if it's that valuable, I know it's going to take a lot of time. So I have to be willing to commit. But I really did. One of the things I think I did good when I first started trading, and I can tell you how I got into it too, but like I consumed a lot of positive content about building your own personal brand, doing things that are unconventional. Specifically, a lot of like Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk content got me through getting started as a trader because he was telling me, go after what you love, even if you make less money than what your dad wants you to do with your college degree. And that was me. My dad was paying to put me through college, and I dropped out before I even finished, which really upset my dad. So I pissed off the people that were closest to me because I didn't go down the path they wanted. So I needed that extra positive reinforcement from those external forces that weren't anything to do with trading. And that kind of motivated me to stay learning and stay trying to find what to do, what not to do. Like I said, kind of in those first 2 years, I went into it from reading Trading in the Zone and reading some of those other like Market Wizards book where you hear how those guys got started. I knew the first 2 years, 3 years, 4 years were going to be pretty rough. Like I didn't expect to do really well. You know what I'm saying? So I went into it with the right mindset, and I think that helped too. I didn't have high expectations for myself.
Yeah, very good. I really
Yeah.
admire that.
No.
When you say, obviously you had the kind of trodden path of what you were supposed to do. I kind of listened to that and wish that maybe I had more confidence similar to push that direction. But it's so easy to just
Confidence
continue.
or stupidity? Maybe I'm a little stupid
I don't
too
know,
for
maybe
it.
a
So,
little crazy.
it worked.
It worked.
A little crazy, yeah. Well, dude,
Yeah.
and I'll tell. Let me just say for the story purposes, my dad worked as an attorney his whole life. He saved up all this money from when I was born in what we call in the States, it's a 529 savings plan, basically, that you're putting money in that can be used for higher education. Well, I spent that money on education and never got the degree. He saw it as a waste. He didn't see how I went to college, felt that I got an opportunity there at a career fair to work for Northwestern Mutual, which I took, got the internship there as a sophomore. So I was a year ahead of everybody. I was the youngest one. So I was already doing that before I dropped out. So I was taking advantage of the school, taking advantage of the network and the people that he had paid for me to go meet. So I saw it as like, I am squeezing this lemon, but now is my time to leave. So it's just about cutting it off. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's a definite thing that people struggle with. Like people, like you said, people would look at that situation and be like, how did you so easily just drop out and piss off your parents? Well, a lot of people wouldn't, they just wouldn't. I guess I'm just, like I said, maybe a little stupid, maybe a little crazy, sprinkle all that together with a little hard work, and then you get yourself here, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But when I was working there, you know, I quickly finagled, weaseled my way into working with a prop firm after college. I worked for this company called T3 Live. They're based in New York City. I went there to be a trader, but then got brought over to their education side. And that's where I started live streaming, running courses, teaching people how I was trading. This is 2.5 years into when I finally got started to this point. So I had already made some money, seen that I could be a loser, but also be profitable. Was I super confident in what I was doing? No. Was I the trader I am today? No. But being at that prop firm and seeing the environment there, learning from guys, just talking with other traders, that was extremely impactful for me. And then in 2019, my wife and I had a conversation. We disagreed with the way that they wanted to sell me, basically, as one of their streamers and one of the people on their platform. So we left and we started ASFX on our own in 2019. And that's what's got us to this point. Now we have 7 employees and got the whole show running where we do seminars throughout the year. We do our mentorship and our live streaming each day. So it's like we've got a really well-oiled machine. Now we've got a wait list for the mentorship. So it's pretty popular through my podcast. So it's all kind of come together here over the last couple of years. But in those initial couple of years, bro, pissed off my dad, dropped out of school, not making money, going into debt. It was awful, but you got to see through it. I guess I was very stubborn. That's another quality I would say. I'm very stubborn. You could tell me that you think I'm not going to do something a certain way. I'm probably going to try to do it that certain way since you told me not to do it that, just to prove you wrong. Sometimes, as I get older, I think I catch myself better of not always giving into the ego and doing those types of situations and knowing what's worth the battle and what's not. But especially younger Austin, I was just doing it with the chip on my shoulder, kind of like Conor McGregor. When did he fight best, right? Like we were just talking about before the podcast, when he had that chip. You give him all this money, you let him get all successful. He's not going to fight again, bro. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, and that prop firm experience, I didn't realize that. But one thing I would say before that is that in my research, I don't think I could find one bad comment about your coaching. I don't think I found anything negative. And and it's relevant because there's a lot of other bad comments about other people, so is in this kind of world of lifestyle marketing and things like that. That is a big testament to obviously how well your coaching is going. But going back to the prop firm experience, so how did you find the environment when you went in there? Did they put you straight into the education space, or did you kind of see the traders, what they were doing, or interact with them every day?
So this will be good because I've actually never told this story on a podcast. People close to me know this story, but basically they have three at the time. I don't know what they have now, but they had 3 parts of the company: the technology, the trading, and then the education. 3 sister companies under one branch of T3. I was brought in to trade Forex as a prop trader. Their spreads were super. This is like 6-7 years ago, bro. So this is a while ago. So I'm not going to say I have no idea what they're offering right now. But I know at the time the spreads were terrible. And as a Forex trader, that made a difference, especially on the day trading side. An 8 pip spread or a 7 pip spread on Euro USD is massive, unacceptably massive in today's market. So it was very difficult to trade. At the time of me starting to realize that, this is all within the first couple of weeks, the guy who recruited me goes on vacation. So I get brought up to New York to pick up some computers for me and the guys that are running this little community kind of branch off that they're getting started. I had friends with me where I lived that were trading with me. So we went and got computers from them. And when we went there, I had introduced them to my videography team. So we all sat down and had a meeting, me and the leadership of the company, without the guy that recruited me for the trading stuff. And in that conversation, they really liked me. And they ended up saying, you should come over here to this side. We'll do some courses. We'll get you streaming. We'll do some stuff. We have a lot of growing, blah, blah, blah. So they kind of pulled me from the trading side over to the education side. So I learned actually more in my time there. I learned a lot about trading because I worked with Scott Redler and I got to watch him trade. And at a seminar that they ran, I learned a lot from him specifically. But I actually learned a lot more about marketing and how to sell myself as a trader because I was brought in on the education side and we were worried about increasing monthly subscribers. To be honest, as you know, with any education company or any type of live streaming thing, whether you make money or lose money, all that matters is you don't lie and be defamatory and mislead people, and that you just be transparent and show the trades. If you make some money or lose some money in between, the trades day to day, that doesn't matter because they're getting subscribers and that's all they care about. So they didn't care if I was trading with them or not. So I was able to actually trade my own money while then live streaming with them and doing the courses with them. So I learned a lot on the marketing side. Now I did go to New York and do some stuff with the team. It was really cool to see the traders on the floor and then go out. Like they had a holiday party. We went out and had drinks and it was a really cool experience just to talk. Like, that's why I host seminars now, because when you can get traders together, they fucking love it, bro. They talk, they get so comfortable with each other because they've been cooped up. They're alone in the crow's nest. That's what my wife calls my office up here in the house. I'm in the second story all the way in the corner of the house. She calls it the crow's nest, but we're all cooped up. So when you get everybody together, you get to bond and connect. So that was a big thing for me when I got to go to New York and learn. But honestly, like I said, a lot of the learning that I got from them, I would say, is actually more in the marketing and the sales and how to present yourself and just structuring, a course correctly. And I learned a lot from them because they had courses already. They had streams already. They had really successful streamers and stuff. So I learned a lot in that sense.
Nice. And the stuff you were teaching, was that a lot of the stuff you learned yourself in the 2.5 years?
Exactly. That was my way of reading the Forex market. Exactly. So over the 2 years, I got specific with a few indicators, simple EMAs, 8 and 21 EMA, an RSI, very simple. And I identified basically 2 patterns that we would look to trade, 2 candlestick patterns. And that was it. And that was what they would come to the room and come to the courses to see. It's like, I want to learn these patterns that Austin's teaching. And I was already good at selling myself. So I feel like they enhanced me a little bit. They gave me more structure because I was already on Instagram. I was already on Twitter. I was already making YouTube videos. I was already posting on Snapchat. So I was taking what I learned back from the beginning about Gary Vee, about personal branding, and I was applying it to me as a personal brand of a trader. And that's why ASFX has become popular. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate what you said about the positive reviews because I'm very proud of that because like you said, there's a lot of people in this industry, what kind of car they drive, but you don't find any positive reviews about them. That's the opposite of me. I'm the anti that guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make a difference in people's lives. And that's why I push my reviews on people so much because there's not many people like myself who have successful students saying, hey, Austin helped me make $100,000 last year. Or I took my first payout from a prop firm because I worked with Austin for 6 weeks or 12 weeks, whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? So that's a huge angle for me. I don't want you to know my car. I don't want you to know my house. I don't need you to know any of that. I want you to know my successful students because they speak volumes on me. So I appreciate you recognizing that. But I find it interesting too, that like I put out so much content and I am so easy to get a hold of and I'm so available on the internet. You'd think that there'd be all these videos about people calling me a scam because there's people that are more popular than me that have a bunch of videos of people calling them a scam. But you go on YouTube and type in Austin Silver scam. There's one girl who talks about how because I interviewed Tom Basso and he used to work with Monsanto and he told me these astrology, which is true. I interviewed Tom Basso. He's a super successful hedge fund manager. But she combines it with this like astrology stuff and how we never win trades and how Tom Basso wants to poison everyone because he worked at Monsanto. He was an engineer for their like accounting department. This crazy thing. And if you read the comments on her video, bro, it's wild. Like she gets ripped up. So that is the only video that I've ever seen of someone trying to, say I'm a scam, which it was completely, I could sue her if I'd like to for how outlandish those claims were. But I don't care about some YouTube video because she got roasted in the comments anyway. So that's what I would say to the positive reviews. But back to the prop firm thing, Great learning experience, great people I met there, bro. Like great environment. I never would say anything bad about them. Unfortunately, it just didn't work on the marketing side of it. And I wanted to go in a different direction and they wanted me to be the way they wanted me to be. And that's just the same reason I dropped out of school, bro. I'm a little anti-authority. I don't really like you telling me what to do. If you tell me what to do, I will respectfully listen. But if I don't innately agree with it, I'm not going to follow it. Just like my dad was always like, you got to go to college to get the degree, and that's how you'll be successful. Well, actually, that is a path, but there's other paths. So I question everything. You know what I mean? That's what my shirts say is question everything. That's really what I
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that
Great.
keeps you alive as a trader too, to tie that into trading. Sorry to rant, but
No,
I think
100%.
questioning
Yeah.
everything, being curious and like looking for new strategies and figuring out how to, adapt and refine. That's why I'm still here. I'm not here because I had $100 million trade and you know me as a guy that grinds it out. I'm helping other traders for sure, but I'm only still trading my own money and still trading prop firms because I grind it out. I make more money than I lose, but I still lose money. Like I'm not some, fantastic, amazing, I figured out the hack Jim Simons level trader. No, bro. Like I'm still grinding out, but because I challenge my beliefs often, I think it keeps me sharp. It keeps me refining strategy, keeps me on edge.
Yeah. Yeah, and that it reminds me a little bit of Jason Shapiro, who I had on, who's a very contrarian type
It's all that.
type guy. Yeah, he's a. I mean, and in a game where consensus is so often wrong and lose money, I think it's a really important characteristic. You're not the only very successful trader I've come across that has that attitude. I think I wish I had that more. If I'm honest, I think I
I
agree a
think we all
bit
want
too
it
much.
more, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
everybody, once you get a taste of it, you almost want more of it too. Jason's a great trader. Jason has a great story. He was in the New Market Wizards book. I actually just spoke with him, not with him, but I was on the same conference of him last Saturday. He was on the Trader Fest with
Trader
Boris
Fest,
and
yeah.
everybody. Yep. I was on in the morning with Trader Nick and Blake Morrow, two other great guys too.
Oh,
So yeah, there's the curiosity. There's characteristics that I think all of us exhibit, but one of them is we're always trying to problem solve and we're curious. That's the people that last in trading are very much, they like the problem solving aspect of it. Of course, they want money and time freedom and this and that, but you got to be a problem solver and you've got to have strong opinions that are loosely held. The CEO of Top Step said that on my podcast. Strong opinions loosely held. That's like a really good way to look at trading. Like have a thesis, have a belief, but when the market starts to tell you you're wrong, adapt, get out of it, be open-minded, be curious. What was I wrong about? What could I have overlooked? What did I not see? Don't be rigid and hold on to it. So I think that's very, very good advice for traders.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think it was one thing I had to get over was this idea of being married to a view needing to be right, and it's the complete opposite of that. It's it's in like you have an idea, you come up with a setup or a strategy, and if it's not right, then you don't need to get into it four times and get stopped out four times. You need to just let it go, right? Read the tape and find something else. You know what I mean?
And it's so hard sometimes too.
Oh
You
yeah,
might be, especially I see guys in our coaching program, they get to the end of the week, they're tired, decision making fatigue is setting in. They are not ready to be mentally trading for 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. They're pushing their limits. And then they succumb to a lot of the stupid mistakes that all of us can make. And this is like something that I'm super big on talking about because I've been trading for longer, each year that goes by, I see this. All of us, even the best traders, Jason Shapiro, any of them, are all susceptible to making the same stupid mistakes. Some of us just have the discipline and the patience. We don't hold those beliefs as strong. We let go, we smile, we take it with a little bit of a laugh, and we push on to the next trade. I think that's, again, the kind of trader you want to identify with. A lot of my advice to people when I'm sitting in coaching calls with them is like, pull yourself into third person. Today, I got a guy that I'm working with, having him be sharp in his trades. We want to sharpen up the entries, no slacking on your entries. If the entry's not there that we've been testing, we're not going to play. We're just going to wait. Okay. Today, he says in the group chat, he's scalped a little short. I go, buddy, why are you doing this? You told me you were going to do something. Now be about it. Stick to your word. Be disciplined to yourself. But right there, he's like, I don't know why I did that. And I said, that's it right there. It's like, we
yeah,
are that susceptible to making these mistakes. You can do it without even knowing why you did it. There's nothing different between me and him, except I've been through that more. So I know how to not give into it more. And that's where experience is just it's the best teacher for traders. It really is. I think experience with trading in a group of like-minded people that will challenge you and push you is the best recipe for success. I don't care, of course, if people do it with me or anybody, doesn't matter at all. I think if you want to be successful, I've seen it at T3, I've seen it with my Black Shirt Club now, I see it. You have to be around people that are also taking it to the level you are in terms of how serious and how professional. And then you have to be around open-minded people that'll have really good discussion with you, because they'll make the good times even better and they'll make the bad times feel a little less bad.
God, you say so much stuff that I think is really
Sorry,
important. But
I
I'm
can rant on it,
I,
bro.
no, but I'm thinking, right, I have to go back now, and there's one part I was like, I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about that. So, but one thing I did really want to talk about, prioritize, was
Yeah.
I think one of the most important things you said there was when you said the ability to step outside yourself. And when I spoke to Stephen Goldstein, who's a kind of trading coach, and he said something like, it's that ability is something that the best traders have. It's really hard to do, but it is like the antidote to exactly what you said. When you make decisions, you don't even know why you made them, and you're in this kind of fog, and you're like, yeah, I made money though, and then you're like, well, it's not the point. You missed
It's not
the
the
point
point.
because you're doing stuff, yeah, by not that's not part of the process. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's Steven's a great guy. I love Steven's book.
Mm,
Um, I think he's had some great people on his podcast. I like a lot of what he says. I think the process of successful trading requires so many different areas of focus, right? And you have to refine those areas of focus over time, from entry signal to trade management to self-regulation to trading psychology to account size management to business planning to all of these things, like all of these components. At first, traders don't think the problem is here. They think the problem is on the screen. The problem is not on the screen. It's not with your technical indicators or with your ability to read price. I could teach a monkey to read price pretty quickly. It's
mm,
usually issues here that hold you back from moving to the next level, right? And often traders will plateau and not be able to break through in terms of position sizing or gains because of internal blockages. And I think meditation has been a big help for me, especially early in my career, to lead to more self-awareness. To your point about, talking how I said pull it to third person, that's self-awareness. That is
yeah.
increased through mindfulness and through activities that, are a practice of mindfulness. Meditating is a great one. Yoga is another great one. I got my yoga teacher certification. I used to talk about it all the time. My wife and I both got it done because we were both into it extremely hard at that time. Now we have a kid and it's a little more difficult, but she still practices more than me. But that mindfulness stuff has been a big help for me, because I think if you could slow down in these very tense moments, which happens to us as traders, if you're trading with any type of size, or even if you're just new to trading with $5, you get
Mm,
nervous, you get caught in this, like, I mean, you could almost say it's like blacking out, and you're locked in, blinders on. When you are trading really well, when you're in the flow, you actually have no blinders at all. You see both sides of the trade. You know the probabilities that you're playing. You know your position size, so you're already in correctly. You know that your idea is invalid, where your stop loss is. Like, you're in the flow. That loose kind of third person trader is who you want to be, not that blinder trader. I think that
mm,
that's really hard to do in a day, but with like working with people and talking through that, of how you could have been more self-aware, when you could have taken a break for 5-10 minutes, and that might have helped you be more self-aware that day. I think those things are huge. So it's like, everyone should try to challenge themselves. Are you doing something to even practice self-awareness? How could you even want to be self-aware if you are not doing a practice of it? You want to be in shape. How could you want to be in shape if you don't go to the gym? Right?
mm,
So it's like, you need to find a practice of self-awareness. Everyone in our group has a mandatory practice of self-awareness. Everyone.
yeah.
I think it's, even if it's a 5-minute meditation, I say 10 minutes is really all you need. I do 10. It's the easiest thing to do. If you can't spare 10 minutes, you probably need to reestablish what you're doing with your life and either find a better job that's paying you more money. 10 minutes is 10 minutes. Everyone's got 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yeah, that's really great, because it's just going back to, again, something Stephen said. That was I think it was, yeah, it was about letting go as the antidote to that. I guess when you meditate, it's, you're watching your breath, or you're just being aware of how you're feeling, or whatever, and it's kind of, that is detachment. So I think, I mean, if there was a direct practice, that's, yeah, you've nailed it there. That's
It,
meditation as the direct
I
practice
would,
for it.
I would recommend waking up. It's $100 a year. I don't get paid for that. It's an app from Sam Harris. It's
Mm,
really, really good. And I think, like, you just touched on it right there. It's like, one of the basic things you'll do when you start meditating is just catch yourself when you are thinking about something. right? Which is kind of interesting to stay. A lot of these meditation stuff is very rah-rah and very interesting. We don't have to go too far down the rabbit hole of like meditate with your eyes open and feel what it would feel like to not have a head. He has you do that in one of the exercises. It's crazy.
Uh-huh.
So it's like you can go really into the weeds here. But I think like
Yeah.
even in your example, step one of it is just the slowing down of, oh, I just caught myself thinking about what I'm having for lunch tomorrow. Breathe. Okay, now back to nothing. Oh, now I'm thinking about work later. Whoop, caught it. Back to nothing. That catching of the thought is self-awareness right there. That's what I'm talking about. So it's like we need to practice that, catching our thoughts when they go off into random directions. Then we become more conscious. And a lot of it has to do with breathing. Often we're at the desk, everybody's very tense, shoulders tight, belly tight. You're not breathing properly. You're not relaxed. So it can be translated into your body language too. Not that I'm a, biohacking freak, but I just understand, what's helped me being able to confidently trade and not have my heart rate spiking. I have it somewhere. I used to wear this Whoop. I just started wearing it again. This fitness tracker. It's got a strap usually, and it sits on your wrist. Track your heart rate. I'm curious to see anybody that's listening. Track your heart rate. See if it spikes when you're about to take a trade or while you're in a trade, right? It normally does for new traders. And what we want to do is not have that happen as much as possible. So you can hack, right? You can use things like this that will help you start to study. Okay, so I'm having an elevated heart rate. I know that's typically when then I make those emotional decisions where Austin's saying I got to catch myself, third person view, pull myself out of it. But also when my heart rate is elevated physically, what can I do to fix that? Stand up, take a break from trading, put in the stop loss correctly, make sure my position is good, and then move on. Take a breath even, just slow down. I think that's often the issue is traders are going fast, fast, fast. Slow down,
Yeah.
Speed kills, right? Speed is not the answer here. Size is the answer in trading. That's how you make money. Size, not speed.
You mean size as in the size of capital you're trading, is it?
Exactly. Not the
Very good.
size of the thing in your pants. That
Yeah.
may have a correlation to successful trading. I have not verified that. I could ask my
Probably.
business partner. He may have verified that better than me, but I can't verify that. But yeah,
Probably not.
size in trading capital, size,
Yeah.
position size per trade, position size, even on a day of how much of your account you'd like to risk, right? Things like that. Yeah, bigger there. Normally
Yeah.
bigger capital. And that can maybe stem into our prop firm conversation. Just bigger capital, I think, is an easy way to have traders slow down. Like when I'm working with some of these guys that are doing prop firm funding company stuff, they are copy trading. And for them, it's easy to explain like, hey, man, if you can just make $200 a day on 6 or 7 of these accounts, you're not really making $200. You're making 200 times 5 or 6 or 7, however many accounts you have. So by getting guys to see that potential bigger dollar, for most people, a couple $1,000s a day would really make a difference in their lives. When you get people to buy in on that, that's, I think, one way to get them to slow down. Like, hey, man, you don't need 30 trades a day to get to 6K a week. I can get you to 6K a week with 1 or 2 trades a day. So with the right size, with the right account size, with the right amount of accounts to copy to, we can get you to that number. And that's one of the things, like in my welcome calls with all of the guys that sign up for our mentorship, we talk about their goals in the first. I want to know how much money are they making Rylee right now? Give me an idea. Per month, how much do you pull in? I don't care about what you're spending. I just want to know what's your frame. If I'm talking to a guy that makes $20,000, $30,000 a month, it's a different conversation than the guy that's making $4,000 or $5,000 a month. So I like to know that. And then I like to know, where do they want to go? How much do you want to make? Because then I can guide them specifically on how many accounts to trade with, how much do they need in those accounts, how much should they be risking per trade. I can show them the framework of what's worked for people before them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And I had loads of questions about kind of prop firm strategy because it's something I haven't really touched on with anyone. But before I do, as just an observation, you strike me as someone that has like, I don't know if you have to measure thoughts per second. You have so much streaming. I wonder, was that a part to play when you picked day trading because day trading is a bit quicker? Or is that kind of a personality
No,
fit, or did you just find day trading?
Before day trading, I was a bar mitzvah and wedding DJ and MC. So I
No
would either
way.
be, I played music my whole life. From
All
when I was
right.
16, I started my first business. It was called the Silver, not Invest, this, it's called the Silver Entertainment Company because my last name is Silver. All my companies have always been my own name because I'm very not creative that way. And I was doing private parties for a long time, bro. Like all of college weekends, I was not partying. I was working. I'd work 4 parties in a weekend, Friday, 2 on Saturday, and a Sunday. I worked for a very, very popular entertainment company. So my answer to you is I'm a talker and I'm not afraid to talk and look people in the eye and get in. I mean, I've done 500 person weddings and I'm just this short little Jewish guy with a microphone telling everybody where to go and I'm running the whole party.
Yeah.
So I've had good experience before the trading. I think if I wasn't trading, if I didn't find trading, I would have still done the same thing. I would have applied my personal branding knowledge, put myself in front of a camera and talked. Because when I was selling the life insurance stuff before trading, I had videos on YouTube about what is credit card interest rates for people my age that I was trying to sell to. I was educating them on basic finances, how to literally, bro, difference between stocks and bonds, the different types of bonds and notes. And like I was making just very basic financial education videos for people. So I've always
Oh,
been a
wow.
talker, you know what I mean? And that's why it's funny, like when I tell that origin story that I was in school for a communications degree, because like I would say communications is probably one of my only strengths is my ability to communicate. But I was going to, you know what I'm saying? It was
Yeah.
crazy that I'm in school to get a degree in this. So that even more to the point of like why I left school. I wanted to be in the business school. Just for a side note on that, I wanted to, bro, but they wouldn't let me take finance 101 unless I passed accounting 101. I
Oh,
sucked at accounting
me
101. I
too.
tried it twice and I dropped it. And in my head, I said this to my advisor at the university. I said, if I'm going to run a business, why would I do the accounting? Wouldn't I hire an accountant? Just give me an answer. Accountants, I even pulled it up online how you can hire an accountant for very cheap, right? And like they can do your bookkeeping very easily, especially when
Mhm.
you're a small business, right? No
Sure.
good
Yeah.
answer. No, you have to take it. It's a prerequisite. Well, fuck you, bro. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I did.
Very good. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
though that's,
So
I
to
mean,
your point of
yeah.
like it's always been a stream. I've always been a talker. I've always had a big mouth. That's my
Mm,
strength. So I use it. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
But yeah, yeah. And it wasn't a direct kind of, you picked day trading because you were kind of, have a quite a fast brain, maybe. I'm not sure. But
Exactly. And that's why I do short-term trading and I suck at swing trading. I really do. Like
okay.
I do investing, but investing doesn't mean closing positions. Investing is I'm adding to my long-term portfolio. We don't sell anything there. But
Mm,
other than that, I think I lean into I trade the 1 minute chart of ES in the futures market. I like
oh.
fast decisions. My average trade time in the last 6 months is 8 minutes on both
Oh,
sides,
wow.
wins and losses. So very fast. Yep. Very
Hmm.
fast. Everything I do. I ran the 4x100 meter, still hold the school record. I was on the relay team at Penn Relays. I'm always everything short and fast, bro. That's me.
Very good. Yeah, very good. And I wanted to go back to I guess your time in the prop firm.
Mhm.
At that point, were you already profitable, or had you?
That's just when I had started to have that first 6 to 12 months of profitability is when I was brought on there. But like I said,
Hmm,
very quickly, I didn't want to trade with them and I was brought onto the education side. So I was still then trading my own money, but educating through them and running their streams through them and everything
yeah.
like that.
So, what were some of your kind of big? I guess, did you have any aha moments when you were getting to profitability that really stick out in your mind? Any kind of moments where you just said, "Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You don't have to trade all day, every day to make money. Size is what you need. Speed kills. That is definitely one of the lessons that has stuck with me for a long time.
mm,
Also, routine really does matter. Pre trading routine really does matter. Doing something disciplined before you trade subconsciously primes your brain to be more disciplined at the desk. You can argue with me all you want. I'll prove it to you through example once you try it, everybody. If you don't believe me, just try it. Do something hard that requires a little bit of discipline before you sit down to trade and watch how you end up more disciplined that day to your trading rules. So I think you have to have a routine that is showing some discipline before you come to the desk. And then you have to love that routine. That's what Scott at T3 really pushed on us. If you don't love the routine, if you don't love your day to day schedule, you're not going to be able to consistently do it for a long period of time. So I think you want to have firm trading hours, run it like a real business, especially now, like you with these funding firm and prop firm challenges. You should allocate a certain amount of money to your trading business every month to take these challenges, see how well you do, and then reevaluate at the end of the month. I think that is huge. And then the last thing I'll say is documenting all of your trades. If you could use a software, I use TradeZilla. I've got a great partnership with them. Incredible software that just makes everything so easy. It shows you what you're doing that's making you money, and it shows you what you're doing that's costing you money. So you can do less of that and more of this. So I think I wish I would have been tracking all of my trades from 2015 and I could see that beautiful equity curve all the way through. So that would be my best advice. I know it's going to be tedious to the new trader that just wants to trade off their phone and make their phone an ATM or whatever the kids say.
hmm,
But the professional is going to start documenting from the beginning. The professional, and that's who you're all competing against. So you should try to act like that version of yourself as much as you can.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, great advice." I think it's the non-sexy stuff like journaling that I think when I meet really successful traders that they all echo.
It
It's
weeds
funny.
out dude, it weeds out the fakers. People be like, oh,
Hmm,
I want to trade. Why? Well, I want more money. Okay. Document your trades for a month and then I'll give you feedback and I'll give you a free hour of my time. You know how many people have taken me up on that offer? The people that are like half into this? Zero, bro. Nobody wants to document their trades if they're just in this for the money. You got to really like problem solving. You got to really like markets. You got to, like, I wake up in the morning, I'm laying in bed next to my wife. First thing I'm doing, I'm checking Twitter. Did Russia shoot a nuke? Did Ukraine do this? I love the news, and I love how that applies to the markets and the problem solving. We've got the Bitcoin thing going on right now. I love it. Like,
Mm.
no matter what, I'm checking it on Saturdays. I'm on it all the time. If you are not like that, you're not going to do well in this business, to be honest.
Yeah, because yeah, I agree, and it's something that I also love in the news part of it. I think when I started, and it became, for full disclosure, kind of a got a black box system of a good guy, great trader, but really wasn't me. It was like a stock swing trading options type trend following, purely technical strategy, and I just had zero interest in that. As in, my interest was always in FX macro, in the types of narratives that are happening, reading the tape, watching market reaction to events, that kind of stuff, and
100%.
moving away from that is important. And now that's the stuff I love doing. So it's similarly, you wake up and, yeah, and you kind of saying what's going on at the moment, how is the market reacting to this and that. Or most recently, I think I have a newsletter I put out, and it was had a post on the Trump fade, the Trump trade that has become so big. I may eat my words on this podcast, but just, yeah, all that kind of stuff. What's happening right now and how the market's reacting, I think.
That's
And the
the
other,
problem solving. That's what I'm saying. It's fun.
yeah, yeah. And the other point was, if you there's so much rejection and chat and, I guess, failure, or losses. You can interpret it whatever way you want, but when you lose money, it's challenging. It's not dissimilar to failure. If you
Well,
interpret it
dude, how
that
many
way.
jobs do you do the right thing and lose money? Most
Yeah.
other jobs, you just show up and you could do your job half-assed and still get full pay. Here, you
Mm.
do it full-assed and you don't get paid sometimes. It's a
Yeah.
crazy career. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and but if you can get around that mindset to, or even accept the risk to reward kind of mentality, that it will work out even if you lose, I think that's a big step for people. It was a big step for me to accept that, especially being
Yeah.
someone that was so tied to things that are happening, the world of macro, and it's so. I think the world of macro and markets can be so sophisticated and sound so great, but you can get so tied up in your opinion and how it's right, and you're still losing money, or you're not learning from your mistakes, and you're tied up in your opinions, and it can be the wrong way completely to go about it, right?
100%. Have you read The Best Loser Wins by Tom Hougaard yet?
No, I haven't. I've been trying to get him on the podcast, if I'm honest, but I haven't read his book. I will if I get him on, but
Yeah. Yeah. I would
yeah.
I would recommend the book to everyone. Everyone. That is one of my I don't read, everybody. Okay. If you could have guessed from my personality, I'm not going to sit down and read a book. The guy that brags about being fast and everything is not going to read. But I did listen to that over and over again on Audible over the last year. So, like, that's a must read, 100%. Must read or
Mm.
listen to, whatever you want to do. Yeah. Tom's great.
Yeah, yeah. I've watched some of his videos, but I'm just imagining you on like times 4 on Audible, just listening to
Ah,
super fast talking.
crushing it out. Right, right. I
Yeah,
actually am
yeah,
listening to an audiobook right now while we're doing this. No, I'm just
I love it. Yeah. But you
kidding.
talk a little. I mean, when you mentioned the news, there is that something that plays into your kind of day trading strategies, or are you very systematic? How do you approach it?
I'm very discretionary. I have a structure. I have VWAP that I really rely on a lot, and I like
Hmm.
to look at Bookmap for order flow. But I have a structure of a couple of setups that I like to play with VWAP, couple three, and then
Yeah.
I will use the news, but I will be very cautious of how much I use the news. For example, unemployment claims a few Fridays ago were 12,000, very low jobs numbers. I came into the day bearish because of that, and I missed a beautiful trending day to the upside. As a long bias trader, that stabs me in the neck, bro, because I'm like, God, I could have just read price and done my job, but I decided to go to Twitter and distract myself. So for a day trader that's looking for just a couple of ticks, a couple of points every day, the macro of what's going to happen, we're going up 40% or down 40% doesn't concern me, but I still like to know about it. I still fill my
Mhm.
brain with it for better or worse. But I'm very cautious to people, especially new traders. I tell them, get off Twitter, get off social media. You'll be fine with just price action for now. And then as time goes on and you start to understand the implications of CPI and PCE price index news events, because the Fed is using them to gauge inflation. And then when you start to understand how inflation plays into interest rates, all of those terms that I just mentioned go in one ear and out the other to a new trader. But as you
Hmm.
start to trade longer and you learn more about them, then you can start to follow them, because then you're not trading off of them. You just want to know what the color of the landscape really is right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, it's funny enough. The more I learned about them, the less kind of I found any edge in knowing
Exactly. No,
the
there's no edge
landscape.
in them.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the only place I've found that I apply what I know about how the market should react to news events or what's happening is just it's just how the market actually reacts. So, say last week, for example, we had I think we had lower unemployment last Thursday, and then we had Powell talking about how strong the U.S. economy was Thursday night. So, the 10-year, which is basically the economic growth in the U.S. tracker, is how I see it.
Yep.
Flies up above a range, closes down below. So it's kind of it's like a fake out. It's a news failure. I
Mhm.
see it as. So the edge I find is, what should the market have done, and what did the
Right.
market do? And if the market's going down, follow the tape. You know what I mean? Don't be
Follow the
running
tape.
after it. Yeah,
Don't.
yeah.
I mean, and how many people will fight? No, it's got to bounce. The news was good. No, it
Mm.
doesn't, buddy. The news was already known by everybody. You're late because you're checking a free website thinking you got the right news, bro. They already knew those numbers were going to come out. You're already on the wrong side of this thing. And
Mm.
that's where it's like it goes back to price action and tape. Because I feel like as traders, when we're not at a bank or we're not at the Fed and we're not at an institution, we are like the little, those little fish that swim underneath the big sharks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
feel like we are, bro. I'm picking up with my few mini contracts. I'm picking up a couple $1,000s a day. These guys are moving millions, big trades that are taking
Mm.
days sometimes to unwind or layer into. I'm small peas, but I'm doing all right. You know what I mean? Like my family eats off of this, so I'm not complaining. I don't want to be a big shark, to be honest. That would be a lesson I learned too from back in the day. Like I learned a lot from Tim Sykes, famous penny stock guy. Had him
Oh
on my
yeah.
podcast too. That was like a kind of like full circle moment. Yep, because he was the
Oh yeah.
first guy me and my dad saw, and that's what Tim always did. He always traded small accounts because he not only was relatable to his audience, but he's like, I can do so much more with small capital, flip it into big capital, and just keep rinse and repeat with that. He's done that for like 15, 20 years, bro. He's
Mm.
never traded a $10 million account, even though he's made more than $10 million verified. He's always traded small, a couple thousand, flip it to a few million, take it out. That's basically what he's done.
Wow. How did he flip
Yeah.
it to a million then?
Oh, penny stocks are crazy, bro.
Oh
You
wow.
could, if you want to check it out, I can introduce you to Tim. He's a really nice
Oh wow.
guy. Kind of, you think I'm crazy? I'm normal compared to Tim. Tim's crazy, bro. He's wild, but in a good way. Like he came into the podcast, like I thought he was going to come in with an entourage because he's a successful guy, millionaire guy, big. No, came in jeans and a t-shirt by himself, in a
Mm.
big
Okay.
backpack with a big backpack. He's just very interesting guy. But yeah, so there's a lot of different, like you, as you know, you've talked to traders from all different backgrounds. Options traders do really well. Futures guys do really well. Some stock guys do really well. People find edge in all different markets.
Mm.
So his
Yeah.
was penny stocks.
Very good. And
Yeah. Yeah.
just before we talk about Tim, you hit a great point of what's already been priced in and news.
The great
It's like,
question.
as you said, that's such a great analogy with the fish and the large fish. It's like these like spot traders in FX sitting in, not necessarily sitting in banks. The people that are the banks are making the markets for these big traders. Seconds the news, they get the news. It's all their positions already, and they've like,
Oh
especially
yeah.
with events algos, it's almost impossible. So that point you made about the day you came in with, we had very high unemployment, and that made you bearish. That is the challenge with news. I think it's like, this is swaying my opinion and my biases, and now it's starting to impact my trading. I find that quite difficult. Even when the tape is going the other way,
100%.
I'm like, this should be this way, and it's like, well, it's not. But in the moment, I'm kind of stuck to it. Like we talked initially about getting married to the idea. It's like I'm still stuck to the
Exactly.
idea. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
100%.
And so when you say you trade with some structure kind of around that, you said you have three setups. What kind of stuff do you use in your setups? Is it kind of trend following type stuff, or is it?
So it's all trend following. I'm not a reversal trader.
Mhm.
I'd like to plug I have a free course. It's 3 hours. It's on my website, asfx.tv. If anyone likes to check that out, it literally teaches you all three entries that I use. I hold nothing back in the free
Oh
course.
wow.
I want people, my business is through my mentorship, which I'm selling my time, and through my live streams. So this course is like a lead magnet, basically. I'm going to say, come in, check this out. You'll see we have over 5,000 reviews on that on WAP, very successful. A lot of people come in for that free course and stay forever
Mm.
because I've given them really good information. So I would encourage anyone to watch it, even yourself. Check it out. Give me feedback. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's me regurgitating a lot of what in this book, Brian Shannon, got to give him a shout out. If you haven't read this one, everybody, Highly recommend this book. This is, again, top 3 must reads for traders. I think VWAP has been the best indicator for me ever. It used to be the 8 and the 21 EMA that I would focus on. But after reading Brian's book and having him on my podcast multiple times and just seeing how successful he has been, completely changed everything for me. So my structure comes off of VWAP anchored to the 9:30 market open. I usually wait for the first 15 minutes. I don't trade in the first 15 minutes. We call that the 15-minute opening range. And then I'm finding plays with VWAP anchored at 9:30 and those key levels of opening range. So for example, yesterday caught a really nice trade, what we would call a mid-range trade. It's in between that opening range high and low, but it's a break of the New York VWAP, which is a signal that buyers are stepping in. So that would be a New York VWAP trade classified in the middle of the range. But then we'll have other plays that'll break the downside of the range hard, set a low, and trade away from that low. As that trades away, if Bookmap and things will tell us we can go higher, I'll buy the break of the New York VWAP back to the upside there. We call that a breakout and back through, because we have stats that tell us we should actually break both sides of the opening range about 70% of the time. So the other piece of my edge comes from this website called Edgeful. They came out earlier last year. It's been super helpful. Like, they will do any type of report that we ask them. So we asked them, can you do an opening range breakout report that tells us how often do we break out or break down or double break that opening range that's set over the last year, 6 months, 6 years, doesn't matter. We can test it over any amount of time. And they were able to tell us that that happens about 70% of the time. So like that setup specifically, I have a 70% chance now that we've broken the bottom of the range, I'll trade to the top. So then I'll use that low as my stop loss. And if anyone goes and watches my YouTube videos or this course I'm talking about, you'll see exactly the setup I'm describing. So it's repeatable, not every day, but it's one of the plays I'm looking for. And then I'll tell you the other one that's really, really good on these trending days. Well, this is great from Brian. He teaches you don't buy the rip. So let's just say I'm a long bias guy. We're trading US indices. Some people make money short in our group for sure, but I'm long bias, so I'm just speaking for myself. Brian is as well. So he says you don't buy the rip, don't buy a stock that's ripping higher. You also don't buy the dip. What you do is you anchor a VWAP to that high from the rip. And when the VWAP, the volume weighted average price, is broken from that high, that is the signal that buyers have stepped back into that asset. Now we ripped, we dipped, and now buyers are back in control. That's when we begin to participate. And we just use basic higher lows for stop loss. If the previous higher low is taken, we cut that trade. But while that VWAP is broken to the upside, there are no sellers in control. Buyers have control of that asset, and we're going to trade long until they take back control to the downside or until we hit profit target, which could be, a previous high of day or average daily range, something like that. Could be orders on Bookmap. So those would be like 3 different ways to play. And like I said, I would just recommend everybody checks out the course. It is free, so it's easy. Give it 3 hours. I think you guys would really like it. But does that make sense? I think I explained that pretty well.
Yes, yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, VWAP is something I don't use, so it's kind of new for me to do. And you also mentioned order
Come
flow.
touch the WAP, buddy. You'll like it. Touch the WAP.
Well, I might take your course now because,
It's
because
3
I would
hours.
want.
And bro, you let me know if you fucking hate it and you go, Austin, this was a waste of my time for 3 hours, then I will definitely give you an IOU. But I doubt that'll happen because I'm quick with it. There's no fluffy bullshit in there. You can go chapter by chapter and just like, what's he say about stop losses? Boom, clicked on that chapter. It's 8 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, however long that video is. So it's broken up in a very easy to digest way. You don't have to sit and watch 3 hours straight. You save the link, you go back and watch it whenever. And we did that on purpose for everybody because everybody and their mother tries to sell a course. But for me, I think the best way to teach someone to trade is here's the framework. Even if I gave you the course and just set you off on your own, you're going to do it slightly different than me. So the real way to teach you is give you the framework. Now come watch me do it. And then you figure out your variation of it that should look somewhat similar to me, but it's never going to be exact. And that's why we have the streams. So it's like, that's why we push that for the streams, because I want people to come watch me trade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's the right
Yeah.
framework too. If I'm honest,
Yeah.
that framework of
I agree.
give them the building blocks. If I was ever going to do something, because I had gone back to when we mentioned Tom Basso, he was on, and he's big on process, obviously. And after I spoke to him, I was like, oh no, we all do this different stuff. There's all these building blocks. They should all be put together in a way that builds an edge. But the way you put them together has to be fitted to the person. I guess that's probably what you
100%.
focus on in your mentorship, is it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And like that's why TradeZella becomes such a big edge for the coaching, because it tells me if they track their trades correctly, I can tell them very quickly your average hold time. Maybe you're holding your losers too much longer than your winners. We can quickly see that through the TradeZella reports. Maybe you're making more
Right.
money in your shorts than in your longs. Maybe you're making more money at a certain time of day and giving money back in the afternoons. We can see all that very quickly. And what we call niche down your process. I tell everybody, we start people at the top of the funnel. By the end of the 12 weeks with us, you're at the bottom of the funnel. You have a specific approach. You're confident in that approach. That's where we want you to be. And that is what we think makes the most money. Specialists. I don't want you to trade all assets. I want you to trade one or two assets really, really well. And I want you to know them to the point where when you log off, you know where price closed. You wake up that next morning, you should kind of have an idea of how far we moved by looking at your trading view for a second. You should know we closed at 59.16. We're at 59.56. We're 40 points higher. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you should know these assets really, really well. When I started trading, I did not think that. I thought I have to trade every Forex pair because I'm going to miss opportunities. When in reality, you become a jack of nothing instead of a specialist. You know what I'm saying? Like jack of all trades, winner of none, whatever. Like you don't want to be a jack of all trades in trading. I don't want to know nothing about oil. I don't know nothing about oil at all. I know everything about ES. I know the companies. I know which ones are weighted heaviest. I know how to look at the Mag 7 and use the Mag 7 stocks in each index. That's what I'm specialized in. So I would recommend everybody tries to think about themselves that way. Like if you study, look at Basso. Look at all the guys you've had on the show, all the guys in Mark. They're specialists. That comes right from that book. That's where that tip comes from, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. I think it's something my mentor does. When you were talking there, he kind of will check the night before market closes on big pairs, and then the morning after, if you don't know what happened, figure out what happened, and then you're back in line and you can continue on.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. And so the bookmark, I think you called it, is it Bookmap?
Bookmap. Yeah,
Bookmap.
Bookmap.
Yeah, it's also something foreign to me. I think I need to upgrade I think I need to become less of a basic bitch.
That's
I don't
new to
use
me too.
TradeZilla. Yeah, I don't use TradeZilla either, which sounds amazing.
Oh, dude. We'll get you on TradeZilla. I can hook you up with the guys over there. So I can take care of that for you. The Bookmap thing is really interesting because it's a visual representation of level 2 that a monkey can read. Like I was not ever taught to read level 2. So I don't know how to read level 2, but I can read the tape on Bookmap. And when I see a big block of orders underneath me, underneath current price, and I'm about to buy it, I hold off on those longs because I know those orders 10 points lower might want to fill. And then they do. And then I find a long either after or like today, I actually sold into that heavier level and made money. I'll front run those orders on the Bookmap because I can see they're all stacked at 59.12. I'll close my short at 59.13 or 59.14, 1 or 2 points higher, just to get out before, in case those orders don't fully fill all the way. So it gives you a huge edge on where market's going to kind of pull itself to, because you can see the liquidity. You don't have to do any ICT bullshit with fair value gaps and all this stuff. I know that some people swear by that. It's fine. I'm not coming at anybody. You do whatever you want. I do not care. It doesn't make me or lose me money. But I'm telling you, Bookmap is a much more legitimate way to try to at least justify what price is going to do. Because at least then you're seeing all the contracts on the CME's book. At least you're seeing all the orders in one place. You can't get that with Forex. That's the big pro with Bookmap, is because futures is a centralized market, I can get all of the data in one place and then use it. It's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing.
I guess it's something that is it mainly day traders or who usually uses Bookmap? And what was
swing traders and day traders, because they have Forex, or not, they don't have Forex. They have futures, stocks, and crypto. So like when NVIDIA was going into earnings last night, you could pull NVIDIA up and see where there were orders positioned before the earnings announcement going into the close. You can do that anytime. Millions of contracts above and below. Millions of shares for sale above and below at pending prices. And you can see if they're buys, if they're bids, or if they're asks, if they're sells. You can see all of it. It's really cool. I have a webinar. Since we're subscribed to each other now on YouTube, I have a webinar that I did for Bookmap. They called me Thursday last week and said, "Hey, on Monday, can you do a webinar about being a funded trader using Bookmap?" I was like, "Sure." So I went on and I spoke for 45 minutes. I'm going to post it on YouTube just because it can be repurposed. I'll send it to you when it's up. It'll probably be up like next week. And then you can check that out. And that's like me. I'm in a trade. I take the trade live. I say, look, here's the Bookmap heat up here. We're going to trade up to that level. I trail the stop. The trade worked out beautifully. So you'll actually see it in the live market, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I love the, you mentioned ICT. I was just put out a podcast with a guy called Stephen Hougaard, and I brought ICT up just as a topic of people that say, they know why price is doing X, or they know where the orders are and things. I always find those kind of things useful. Like Bookmap sounds like one. Bookmap sounds like one, or I use, after speaking to Jason, the COT data to check where people, how positioned they are in different futures markets. But it's always useful to actually know what things are and not go
Yep.
by people's opinions on what's moving price, especially when you're new. Because you must
Yeah.
work with loads of new traders, and all they want to
Yeah.
know is how does this thing work? How does this market book? And then you have this guy with 1 million followers on YouTube, and he's like, I know how this thing books. It's like it's the perfect sales pitch to new
It's a
traders,
perfect
right?
sales pitch. It's a great story. I've interviewed a lot of people that give him credit. One of the guys on our streaming platform, his name is Zach.
Hmm.
Zach trades similar to ICT, but he's never seen an ICT video. He's watched other people teach it and in
Oh,
their
sure.
own way. So a lot of people have regurgitated this ICT shit in their own form. I
Hmm.
think his sales pitch is better than the guys that rent Lamborghinis, right? Like he's literally saying they kidnapped me, told me the secret, and then let me go free. And now I'm putting it out on YouTube for free.
No way.
That's a crazy sales pitch. That's what the story basically is. I just
Really?
summarized it in 4 points. Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
he's this. Oh, this is the
Okay.
old story, bro. So I don't know if it's
Okay.
around as much as it used to be, but the old
Hmm.
story back in the day, and I've had people on my podcast like Sam Cavanaugh and a bunch of guys that told me about this, so I learned it from them.
Oh.
He said that they kidnapped him, took him to a warehouse, tied him up, somehow told him the secret, and then somehow let him go. And then somehow he has a free YouTube channel where he teaches it all. Somehow. So it's just crazy. And again, I'm not
Right.
discrediting that it works. I'm just saying, why am I the only one I feel like that's being like, this story is weird? At a minimum, it's weird.
That is
At
crazy.
a maximum, it's a total hunk of bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I think anybody with the brain smells. But the thing is like a lot of people that even say that about him and that story will say, but if you go watch his videos, they actually can give you a structure for how you approach the market. And that's what people
Sure.
need. So that's
Yeah.
the thing, right? Like whether it's his course or my videos or his video, doesn't matter. Each person of how they see the market and then their
Mm.
track record will speak for itself. That is what you'll learn through their videos, right? So even if he and I taught the same thing, he'll still teach it in a different way than me. And then you just got to really remember, everybody, when you're looking for trading education, everybody buys because they like the person. People buy people, they don't buy products. So you got to do a good job. And this is what he does. He's created a character. You got to create a personality for people to buy into. I've just chosen to be myself, not create a story. I don't have to hide from people like he does. And that, ends up being received by the audience as more authentic than his
Mm.
story, right? No one's going to question my background at T3, not only because you can verify it, but because it's not outlandish. When you do the outlandish stuff, it just draws so many questions. When it's like, shouldn't we be talking about trading? Because now he's in beef on the internet with Patrick Wieland and everybody, Patrick was just on my show. And it's like, this guy said he was going to win the Robbins Cup and he didn't win the Robin. It's just a whole bunch of shit just to get engagement. Keeps them in
Mm.
the talking. I'm talking about them right now. That's all they care about. There's no such thing as bad press to these people. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, yeah. I forgot for a minute. Although I knew in the back of my head that you were kind of one of these big people in the Twitter space. And I know trading is so big in Twitter. It's something I haven't done at all, if I'm honest. I
It's
have like,
huge.
yeah,
You
I've,
got
it's,
to. You got to.
yeah, to be
Because you
fair.
have real conversations with people on Instagram. What do you get? Nothing. Maybe some DMs. Like all of my good conversations with people are on Twitter and stuff like that. Not and on YouTube, in comment section on YouTube. Never on Instagram. I do Instagram because I have to. I literally post
Okay.
and I leave. I don't do shit on Instagram anymore because I hate the audience. I hate the comments often. People don't want
Okay.
to learn on Instagram. What do you want to look at on Instagram, everybody? Money, cars, and girls' tits. That's
Yeah,
all you want to see.
I was
Right?
gonna,
Hot girls.
yeah.
That's it. It's not for education, and I'm education. So it's like Instagram's just not going to do it for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's funny.
I
When I
could
used
get
to,
naked and put money all over myself, and I still don't think people would want to see that. I still don't think I would do as good as the hot girls in them. You know what I'm saying?
it's funny. Yeah, you get those photos where it's like a girl lifting a weight, and then it's like a guy in the comments being like, "If I did this, it's got like one view, and it's got like this guy with like 400,000.
A
Girl
hundred
has like
percent,
four hundred
bro. A
thousand
hundred
views on
percent,
it."
bro. There was this video. This girl, she had her leggings and her outfit on and shit. And then she had her sweatpants pulled down around her ankles. So it starts off with her doing squats with her sweatpants at her ankles. And then it cuts to this guy that I follow that's a fitness dude. And he's doing the same thing, but it's basically him in his boxers with his shorts on. And he's like, see, like this is me doing it, but it's cool for her to do it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So
but
you epitomized everything you just said right there.
yeah, but to tie up the ICT topic on
Yeah,
I would say a slightly positive note. I think the some of the principles he has rebranded are just kind of former technical
absolutely.
analysis principles. So some of the
Absolutely.
stuff is good that way. I'm like some of the
Yep.
price action stuff
A
are
break or block is like a break and retest.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Or yeah, order
Yep.
blocks are supply and demand. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, it's just got a new kind of tone to
Tomato,
it. Yeah.
tomato, buddy, whatever.
Yeah, but I want to go on to the prop firm topic a bit,
Yeah.
because I guess that is what you directly mentor your mentees on doing. Is that the goal of your mentorship, is to get them funded and get them
Yeah.
earning?
Yeah, we had a guy just take a 30K payout last
Oh
week. We had a
wow.
guy take a 40K payout 2.5 months ago. So we've had this year extremely successful guys come through the club. 90% of them want to trade with prop firm money. They don't want to trade their own money. And even the guys that want to trade their own money, we have a long discussion about risk reward of, especially if they're a new trader, of maybe not trading their own money at first and trading with a
Mm,
prop firm because it's just lower risk. So yeah, most of my guys that are coming through want to pass their first combine or challenge, or are already funded and they want to like make 100,000 plus next year. They haven't broken through that 6-figure ceiling. That's normally what I'm trying to get people to. My first goal always with people, I tell them this in the sales call, because it's not something you can just pay for. You have to book a call with me and I talk to the person so I can make sure they're going to be a good fit, because it's a small group. It's only about 30 people.
mm,
And in that call, I tell them my first goal is to help you make the money back that you spend on the program. Right now, the program's $4,000. My goal is to get a $4,000 payout for you while you're with me. That's number one. It doesn't
mm,
happen for everyone, but it's happened to about 30% of the people that have come through the program this year. So 30% of the guys making their money back in the mentorship tells me I'm probably charging too cheap, but we keep it at the price that we do because we think it's still, for the time that they get for 12 weeks with us, 3 months, it's still pretty reasonable for that time. But they trade
mm,
together with us all day. They do coaching calls with us once per week. They're given TradeZella for the year. We give them everything that they need to set them up for success. They just got to plug into the machine and do it. That's really what we don't do. Like at the end of their mentorship, we don't ask them to stay unless they want to stay. Like they're totally, like, a lot of my good reviews are people that are leaving and they're going into our free chat for graduates and stuff like that. So it's not like I try to suck people's money dry. You pay, you come get around successful traders. We teach you how to take payouts. We let you go out into the wild and we see what you can do. And a lot of
mm.
our guys are still trading. I think a lot of mentorship groups like mine just spit people out and then they end up going back to their job. My guys are still trading. That's why I'm trying to add them to uh, my roster of streamers on ASFX TV. It's because I have
Mm.
guys go through the program. They're doing well. They'd like to make some extra money on the side because trading, you don't make money every month. Newsflash. So they want to make some extra money. So they come back and they go, hey, can we do something where I come stream for you and we barter time for this and that? I'm like, absolutely. I like to keep really good traders around me. It helps the brand grow because now it's not just ASFX isn't just me. It's Evan and James and Zach and Thomas and all these guys in our group, you know what I mean, that are now creating content. Manny, that are creating content to help spread it. You know what I'm saying? But to your question, yes, it's mostly people trying to get funded. So we spend all the time talking about prop firms, all the time talking about rules changes, which company's offering the best thing right now, how much do you have to spend to get a payout, blah, 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 blah. It's all we focus on.
Hmm. How long is
Yeah.
the mentorship? Is it he says 12 weeks?
12 weeks. So 12 coaching calls, 3 months with us. If someone's busy, bro, like, I'm not an asshole. So if you're sick for a week, I don't charge you for that week. We add it to the back of your program. And
Mm,
occasionally, like going into the new year, I'm running promos where I'll give people a fourth month for free. And I also let them split the payment. So it's only $1,000 a month. It's really not that bad if you're taking trading pretty seriously. To be
mm,
around guys that have so much experience to shortcut your learning curve. If you value that, then I think it's a very fair exchange of money for time and experience. And I think that's why the reviews are really good, because other people would agree with that. So it's usually 12 weeks, sometimes 16 weeks, just depends on what promo we're offering. But I don't do discounts on that because me and James and Evan, the three coaches in the program, we want to be paid for our time. That's really what people are
sure.
getting, is our time.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's it like? I mean, for someone, I guess some of these people are brand new to trading, because something, I guess, when I started, going to a prop firm level is almost like an aspiration down the line. But when someone
Of
starts
course.
brand new, going into, how do you kind of set them up, so quickly for success like that?
Well, some people, like Ken, is on his 15th week. Ken just passed his first combine. You should see what
Oh
he
wow.
came into the program with. It was a mess. No direction, no strategy, no nothing. Didn't know how to do markups, didn't know how to do TradeZella, nothing, bro. When I say nothing, like he was randomly taking trades. That took 16 weeks basically to get him to pass his first combine. He's working full time, busy guy, not able to trade every day, all day, but then finally got it over the line. And now he's also copy trading, so he'll get 4 of them over the line within the next few days.
Mm,
That happens like that. 16 weeks just to pass the combine. Then I have guys like, we'll talk about Alex. Alex came in failed 25 challenges, but within 4.5, 5 weeks with James, one of our coaches, he's from South Africa, the bald guy. Everybody knows him as the bald guy. With James, Alex was able to take a $17,000 or $16,000 payout within the first 2 months, and then Alex just took another third. So Alex is up almost $50,000 in 4 months. It's crazy. That's after 25 failed challenges, though. So you see the difference between him and Ken. He came in already having tried these challenges. He's already gone through the gauntlet of failure and rule break, and he's gone different conversation than with a guy like Ken, who came in never even trying. And then he took his first couple with me, failed a couple, we learned from it, and now he finally got one over the line. So you'll have, depending on where you start in the program, different outcome. Ken is not going to have, we have not had a new trader come in and get a 30K payout. That's not happening. But we've had guys like Mark and like Alex who come in with experience, and we amp their trading up to another level for sure.
Very good. And so you,
yeah.
I guess, how do you, you give them a set of your strategies like you give away in the in your free futures course?
That's why it's there. It's exactly it.
Okay.
So they have to watch Futures 101, and we just dropped another one that's a follow-up, just a more detailed version of that called Futures 2.0. They have to watch both of those, and then that's it. Then they come in and they trade with us every day, and they learn on the fly. But most people will watch those in detail multiple times, take notes, and ask questions. Most people then, when they come into the program, another thing that we do that's really, really cool is every person in the club gets their own thread. Think of it as like a locker in a locker room. That's where all their bullshit is, all their good stuff and all their bad stuff. So the entire community of Black Shirt Club members can go into, including my thread, including the other coaches, including other members, they can go in and see each person's total day every day because they post their daily report cards. And they can have dialogue with each other of like, hey, Christine, I think you did this, but I would have done this. Hey, did you notice this going on? And they can have really constructive conversations, like locker room banter, but learn. So we kind of have cultivated this virtual prop firm environment where they can come in, share their wins, share their losses, feel like they're going to get good feedback in those threads, as well as on their coaching calls. So it's a multiple angled attack on finding what they suck at and helping them do less of that. And then finding what aligns with them, what they believe in and what they do really well, and helping them do more of that. As a coach, my job is to not boss people around. I try to lead from the front. I try to ask good questions and have them come to the conclusions themselves. How many people do you think I've wanted to say, stop trading so many assets, trade one, let's focus on one? Almost every person in the group. Oh. But when we talk, I say, how well do you think you can focus on multiple assets? Well, sometimes I feel distracted. Okay. How, out of all of them, how much money are you making on all of these? Are any of them more profitable than not? Once we start tracking with TradeZella, we can see it. So you can see just with those two questions how I can get that person to probably get my point, which is we don't need to be trading more than one asset. You see what I'm saying? So that's my job, is to push people, ask them good questions, and help them be a better version of themselves. They leave in 12 weeks, 16 weeks, better, more confident, more controlled. Doesn't matter, to be honest, how much money they've made. But some people will leave me the best review and they haven't even gotten a payout yet. But they feel more confident. They feel finally like this is a real thing. They can see the payout coming. They can see that it's real. And that's a big thing, right? Like tasting it is a big, big thing. I think the milestones that you got to hit, we try to get people through at least 2 of these milestones while they're with us, is feeling like you have an entry signal that you know you can trade it without having to take random entries. That's the first big milestone. You do that through markups and through strategy study. Then second big milestone is passing the combine. Get through the challenge. Finally pass one. Along that way, you'll probably fail a couple. That's good. We learn from those. And then the third big milestone is your first payout. Like I said, we try to get through 2 of those milestones with most people while they're with us. Yeah.
Very good. Even when you were talking there about daily report card, I think you said, daily report card, markups, and TradeZella. So even those, I guess markups is what, marking up the chart you've entered a trade on, is it?
Exactly. So you mark up we want everyone to mark up the trades they take. That's standard. You have to show me where you got in and explain why with text. Why did you put your stop loss where it is? Why did you manage the trade the way you did? And how did the trade end up after you got out? Did you exit well? Should you have held? I want to see the full thing. That's how we study your actual trades. But then we encourage everyone to do at minimum 3, maybe 5 a day of markups of other ideas. The question we tell them to ask, it's in their daily report card, is what was the trade of the day? Were you in it, or was it a different trade you should have been in? Another really good question in their daily report cards is, what could you have done to make more money today or lose less money today? That's a really great question everyone should ask themselves. So we built the daily report card template for everybody. We give it to them when they come into the program, and then they fill that out every day. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, we have the machine. You just show up and do the work. We're going to take care of you. That daily report card is going to give give me everything I need to know. Now, if you half-ass it and put one markup in one sentence, what are we going to talk about on your weekly coaching call? Probably baseball, probably golf, the weather. We're not going to talk about it because you didn't give me any effort. And it's now Friday and we're talking about Monday and you don't remember because you didn't mark it up correctly. And now it's 5 days gone by. So if they give the effort day over day, 30 minutes to 45 minutes a day of marking their day and going over their day, we can have really, really constructive conversations that just make the patterns more clear to them of where they're going to find more success and what they need to avoid doing. Notice how I've said that a couple of times. Like, that's the crux of this. It's not always helping people find wins. It's often helping them do less of the things that's costing them money. Avoid losses, avoid bullshit mistakes. We know when Jimmy goes for 3 trades in a day, he's probably going to go for 4, 5, or 6, and that's not profitable. So we put a hard stop in with a time stop and a certain amount of trades that he can take. And he has to check in with me every day after he's hit that time stop or after he's hit those 3 trades. So just little accountability check-ins like that also help too.
That is probably the best standard of kind of marking up, tracking your trades I think I've ever heard, right? And it definitely highlights, yeah. It definitely highlights how shit I am at it, if I'm honest. I definitely have, that kind of example of slacking off after, like, I'll mark up all my trades, but I'm starting to question the detail now after hearing your
Oh
standards.
my
So
God,
that
bro. I
that
could
will
show
bring
you
me
some
up, I think.
markups. I'll show you some markups from some of the guys. If you go on my Twitter, I retweet the guys that do daily videos. Another thing we encourage people to do, this is a shocker to some people, is daily video reviews. Replay the
Okay.
entire day. Show me your daily report card. Show me the charts. Talk me through your day. I retweet a lot of these guys. Thomas and Manny are 2 of the guys that are making these videos. They post them on Twitter. So I'm telling you, if you want to check these guys out, their report cards, their markups, bro, there's not a free, it's not only is it easy to read and beautiful, but they have so much of their thoughts and emotions dumped on the screen. It's so constructive when we have conversations. Like, you'll get half hard looking at these markups because they're so nice, bro. It's amazing. And what it helps with is when I'm trying to coach people within a structure, right? VWAP and systematic ish, but we're still trying to sprinkle discretion. I need them to document, for example, when they're in profit and they feel like they want to close the trade, but it hasn't reached their target yet. I need them to mark exactly where that is. Because when that trade turns into red and loses them money, I can sit with them and say, look, your gut was trying to talk to you and say, hey, man, this isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing for our winning trades. Act. Get out of the trade, take the profits, do something. But your brain is married to your box of a system and it's scared to trust your discretion, so you don't. So I actually help coach people, once we have that structure in place, to apply discretion correctly and learn how to trust your gut. What's the worst that happens in that case? You leave money on the table. If you're worried about leaving money on the table, you shouldn't even sleep. Markets are 24/5. Crypto's 24/7. You're always leaving money on the table that way, Jack, right? So it's like you can't win that argument with me. So I find that kind of guiding people through the markups to be very detailed allows me to then give good feedback, especially when trying to coach in a very specific area, which is discretion. It's very hard to coach discretion. But when you tell me how you were feeling and what you were doing, oh, I got distracted here because my mom called me. All of that really, really helps. Even though in the moment, as a new trader especially, you think, I need the right indicator to get me more money. It's like, no, buddy, not even close. Not even
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good
But it
point.
is hard. I am very rigid on it. Like you said, it is, the standard is high. But what's
Mm.
cool about a high standard is when you find the right people, they actually bring the standard even higher. First, we had this guy doing great markups. Now this guy's doing even better markups and more, and he's finding more patterns and having more intellectual conversations. Man, I gotta fucking do more. That's what everybody starts thinking. Is I gotta do more. A high standard raises everybody. Rising tide lifts all ships. That's why the group works. You have to have the standards high, but you also can't control the group. Like, a lot of people try to run these trading groups and they try to micromanage it. I don't, because I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the group. I actually know for a fact I am probably not. I might have skills in certain areas like running this business that make me look smart, but I'm not the smartest trader in the group. So when I approach it with that attitude and our leaders in the group approach it with that attitude, you see how open-minded that can be? That kind of discussion can be extremely beneficial to everybody when no one is leading from the front. We lead as a group. You know what I mean? I always say to people, traders are all walking in the same direction, but on a different road. Sometimes I'm on a smooth downhill asphalt road, fucking crushing it, 20K, 30K a month. Sometimes new traders are on this uphill cobblestone mess of a squiggly road, but we're all headed in the same direction. You're just at a different point in the journey, different lay of the land. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that's interesting, because it's not just about trading or being a successful trader. When you have a community like yours, I guess it's having the ability to lead the community in whatever way is going to maximize people's
But
results.
I like coaching. I've been impacted by coaches my whole life in a really positive way. Even behind me is a picture. That's my dad's shirt from when he coached me in soccer. And I
Oh,
think
well.
like throughout my life, my dad, my teachers, mentors have made such a positive impact on me. And I just feel like almost obligated to return the favor. I think good traders want to pay it forward. So especially in this industry, it is so rewarding to help a new trader like Ken, speaking of someone who's struggling, months of struggling, bro. Like I know that guy's ready to quit at some point. We had to take 2 breaks where he didn't trade for a week and a half, which stopped. But then to finally get that certificate, bro, man, he sees it now. He feels like it's real. That's really, really rewarding for me.
Hmm. Was there anything specific with that guy Ken, or that stopped at some point and then he became successful, or was he following the process well through it, and then it was a bit unlucky, but he stayed with the edge, and eventually the edge played out, or how did it happen for him?
It's a good question. It happened because we put people through what we call the throwing the paint at the wall. Have you ever heard that saying? Throw paint at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing.
I don't say
So
paint,
we're
but yeah, I know the phrase.
whatever.
Yeah,
You throw something at the wall, see what sticks.
yeah.
That's what we're basically doing with him. But it took a longer period of time than it should have, to be honest. It normally takes a trader about 6 weeks to throw enough at the wall, take enough trades, collect enough data with structure that we can start to make adjustments. For him, we just never really got niched fast enough. He was still trading NQ and ES. He was still doing longs and shorts. He wasn't just doing one side. So it was still like he was gathering data to try to see what did he really want to lock in on and get to that
Mm.
bottom of that funnel, like I said. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
again, he has a job. He's got 2 kids or 3 kids. He's got a wife. He lived over in Orlando, not too far from me. So like he's busy. You know what I mean? He
Mm.
had a week on vacation. So it doesn't happen as fast for him as the guy with no kids, no responsibilities, no house yet, no nothing. Like he's just grinding it out. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
different. So that
yeah.
speed too through that journey is just different. But I think Ken
Mm.
grinded it out, bro. Like we
Mm.
consistently tried to tweak and improve. He tracked all his trades every day, every week. We did weekly meetings on Saturday mornings, every Saturday, me and Ken, 8 o'clock, no problem. So like that, it was just a grind. I mean, in this business, you're gonna have as a coach, it's tough, man. You're gonna literally sit with people that are gonna pay you a couple $1,000s to talk to you, and you're gonna sometimes, when they're a good trader, say, "Bro, I can't give you feedback on these trades in a negative way. I like your stop loss. I like the way you're taking it. You're not oversized, overtrade." We just took losses. Just took losses. Like is such a thing as a good loss. And now, how do you take it? Do you tilt on the good loss and make it a terrible day? One mistake turns into 3. My goal
Mm.
is to make that not happen. Just take the one mistake, come back tomorrow. I lost 1,100 yesterday. I'm up about 1,400 today. You can't linger on past losses. You've got
Mm.
to be able to move on. You've got to be able to put them behind you. Be a good loser. That's why I think out of everything I've said today, everyone please go read Tom Hougaard's book, Best Loser Wins.
Yeah.
It changes everything. It really does. That when you realize you become a good loser, you actually have more confidence to be trading because you know how to take losses. When losses are foreign and you don't want them and you're like, ugh, I don't want to lose, that's when you go on tilt because of it. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you're repulsed about it. So of course you're going to spiral. You have a
Mm.
negative framework around losses. Kick the framework out the door, reframe all of the things that you thought about trading. Trust the people like myself and the other guys that you've had on the show that give good advice, that have grinded it out. You can't look at losses as failure, everybody. But school and your parents and society has trained you to think you lose, you fail. You're wrong, you fail. In trading, you're going to be wrong and it's going to be a great day. Welcome to trading, everybody. It's hard. You see what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah, yeah.
really, really backwards in a lot of ways, this business. So you've got to be willing to reprogram your mind, rewire the way you look at things.
Hmm. And is it do you drive the reframe, or just the kind of no expectations on the outcome? Or how do you try and, I know you mentioned, is it reframing you try and do at the end of the day to try and get yourself back to kind of baseline? Or I guess maybe
Yeah,
are you just able to let go of it now because you've done so many
I think
trades
I
over these?
I think that's more me. I think
Mm.
some people reframe it and they're in the reframing process. I would say I'm more of like, I laugh at it because I know, like, I've tracked my trades for over a year. The max red days I've had in a row is 3. So I know I should not have more than 3, usually 2 consecutive losing days. So why would I worry about one day of losses? If I took good trades, I had a good day of losses last week. I think it was on Wednesday. I think I lost like $1,100 or $1,200. I couldn't tell you how much I lost because I know the 2 trades I took were really good trades. And I said that to the group. I was like, everybody, this is a big thing. Like, this is new for me this year of like, I don't even remember how much I lost because I take my losses, I take my trades, time's up to trade for the day, work is done. I'm off into podcasts, I'm off into other things. That's a good losing day. Well, you don't even know how much you lost, but you know you took good trades.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great attitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you find the same with winners? Like when you have winning days, do you?
I find with the winners, I probably don't celebrate them enough. I try, maybe that's a good thing though. So like I'm not
Maybe, yeah.
too picky, right? But like I kind of want them to be not expected, but it's par. Like winning trades, hitting good trades that end up as winners is par. I focus on the things that I can control, which is the setup, the size, the stop loss, everything else, the news that's coming, all those variables I can control. I don't
Mm.
know the outcome once I'm in the trade. So once the trade is on, all I question is the process. Outcome unknown. I see these trades as data points over the year. I will have red data points over the year. It's fine. I just can't have big red data points. I think everyone could look at it like this. And I guess I teach it this way. You have tilt days as a new trader every week. Get a little more experience. You should try to make that tilt happen once a week, once a month, once a quarter, once a year. If you can think about it like that, you let go of that perfectionism of like, I'm trying to be this perfect trader that stays on. Bro, embrace your mistakes. Just learn from them and don't let it happen again soon. And don't let it happen and cost you the same amount of money. The goal with trading mistakes is you want them to happen less often and cost you less money. Those two things happen less often, cost you less money. They're not unavoidable. You will always make mistakes unless there's a perfect trader out there that wants to come talk to me and prove me wrong. I haven't met him yet because every big trader that I've ever known has had hardship, has made money, lost money, made more money, lost more money, made money, lost money. That's the game. Who's going to keep it? That's the game, though. That defines your successes. Who's going to keep it?
Mm.
And not go on tilt and give back. Bro, we've all been there. Give back an entire month's gains in one day because you moved your stop loss, you doubled down, you couldn't stop. All I'm saying is, yeah, that's normal, especially in your first couple of years. Embrace it, but stay focused back to our self-awareness point of not letting it happen as often as it used to. And that goes into tracking your trades. Because if you track it, you can see it and you can go, oh, look at that, man. I've only had like 6 tilt days all year. That's like one every other month. That's a huge step forward from my last year. And then next year,
Mm.
you do 1 tilt day a year. You know what I mean? Like that's the goal.
Yeah. You starting to remind, or I guess the first thing I want to say was the 12-week number on going from kind of zero to funded trader kind of starts to make sense to me, although I didn't think I'd ever say it because of how long people talk about their journey to profitability. But I
Right.
think the other big thing is how fast people are learning. And I think the fact that you force the standard of tracking so much, every day and having so much to process of just data, without it, you can't iterate and improve. And I think a lot of people, it takes them a long time to become profitable, me included, because there was no process of gathering information about yourself. But
How do you
it sounds
define
like,
that? How do you define that word profitable? Because you said it twice there. When you say me make these guys profitable, because I would challenge your comment and say, I wouldn't call them profitable. Like I would not call Ken a profitable trader just because he passed a combine. I would call a profitable trader someone that is in the prop firm now space, like this funding company thing, someone that is spending X, but making more than that in payouts. That's profitable because we're not trading personal capital. So I guess I'm not as rigid on that. I want to make you profitable. I'm going to teach you how to make some money from these prop firms. Profitability
okay.
to me should be defined over a year, 5 years. Like profitability is a bigger picture thing. I don't think I can make someone profitable in 12 weeks, just to be clear. I can make
Mhm.
someone a better trader. I can get someone funded. I just don't think you can. I wouldn't want you to judge me on my profitability if you only looked at one 12-week window of my year. That could be a drawdown window. Would you like the rest of my year is profitable? You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that definition for me generally is not losing money. That's what
Right.
being profitable to me is, because
On more days
that
than not. Yes.
yeah. Well, generally I take it in a year. Yeah, as is my
In a year.
baseline.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing. So we're
But
saying the same thing then. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And before I go to my last two questions, because I know we're pushing to time. You mentioned copy trader when you
Hmm.
work with your mentees. So is the
Yes.
is the approach that you get them funded on a funded challenge? Sorry if I'm a complete basic on these funded challenges, but you get them funded on a funded challenge, and then this is a copy trader that allows them to do multiple trials in
Yeah,
one.
so some of these, exactly. That's exactly it. Some of these
Okay.
prop firms offer you the option to trade multiple accounts while having a master and then copy the accounts. That's the secret to getting big payouts, because instead of risking $1,000 in one account that has a max drawdown of, let's just say, 2,000, that's
Mhm.
50% of your drawdown. You have 2 trades and you're done. You can risk $100 on 10 accounts, which is still $1,000 of risk overall, but it gives you much less of that individual account's drawdown being used. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're just buying yourself more time rather than YOLOing it in one account.
Yeah.
That's all. Because they have a lot of
Very
these
good.
accounts have super tight drawdown rules and stuff like that. So to kind of play around that, to give yourself more wiggle room rather than 2 or 3 tries if you want to make decent money before you fail the account, you do the copy trading, and you just don't think. I tell everybody, don't think about the other accounts. Just trade it as one account. But remind yourself, if you're up 200 and you're copy trading to 5 accounts, that's $1,000. You know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, I've heard people say that funded. I mean, the scaling capital, but I didn't really realize, I guess, how they were doing it via that approach.
That
Um,
way.
yeah. Now, my last 2 questions for you. The first question is, so I guess in this interview, you kind of displayed some, you know, pretty great traits of a trader, and you have the track record to back it up. But I wonder, what's your, say, objective in a 5 years time as a trader? Like, where do you want to be, or what would you like to achieve?
I'm going to be doing exactly what I'm doing now: podcast, trading, coaching people, but a little bit less because I want to have another kid and I want to be doing stuff with my family more. I spend a lot of time at the desk every day with coaching calls and clients. And that's why I'm bringing on new guys to our team as the years go on, because I want to pay them. That'll make their trading better because they'll make extra income. I will still, of course, run the business and take a piece of it, but they'll help me scale. I'm going to scale the business to have people do what I'm doing and help guide other people, whether it's to trading their personal capital or whatever we're trading at that point. We'll adapt as markets change. But I really like helping people. I think trading by itself is very isolating. And now the
Mm.
community that I've built and the people that I keep around me, I love them. And it makes it like fun every day to get up and trade, and I enjoy it. And I would never want that to stop. Like, people have always said, what are you going to do to sell your business? I'm like, my business is really me. I don't really want to sell it. I want to help employ more people and also help make other traders around the world more money. So I think through our mentorship and through our live streams, we check both of those boxes. So like, I've been in business since 2019. So I've had a lot of time to now think of this new kind of 2.0 version of our business with the streams and the mentorship that we have set in place now. And now I'm going to lock in on this for 5 years. Like I did 2019 to 2025, did that for 5 years where I was selling a course and kind of building myself. Now we scale. I spread out to guys that I give them the green light. I say, yes, Evan is a great trader. James is a great trader. You can trust these guys like me. And I'll still be there to give you feedback, but this guy's going to be the guy that takes you day by day. He's going to do with you just like I would. So that's where I want to be.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That answers my second question in one question, because my second was about you being a coach and a business owner. But you think you've answered 2 in 1 there, so that's amazing.
There you go. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's a struggle, bro. I mean, I would love to give more time to my kid, you know what I'm saying, and
mm,
my wife sometimes, and I would love to have more time to work out. But like, when you're not just trading and you're running a business, I only like to do things if I do them full bore, meaning I'm going hard. I'm not doing this for fun. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this
yeah.
for serious build a business. Employ Evan, employ James. James is having his first kid in a couple of weeks. So now my employees are going kind of down the same path that I'm going down in life. We're all going to eat together. Like, that's my goal, is make sure everyone gets rich on our staff together. We continue to help people make more money through payouts, through personal capital, whatever we decide to do. So I think that, like, I would have killed to have the opportunity that they have. When I started building my brand, if someone bigger than me in the space was going to say, hey, buddy, jump off my back and go further, I would have fucking jumped all over that, bro. So now my goal is also to make one of them more popular than me. Like, I'm popular in the space. I want one of them to be more popular than me. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool goal. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I see it going to, obviously, new heights with those kinds of goals, right?
Thanks, brother.
Very selfless goals. So, listen, I appreciate so much of your time. I think there's so much in this podcast. I say sometimes, on a few previous podcasts, sometimes I don't remember podcasts. It's like I black out or something. And this is one
Right.
of the ones where I think I will need to watch it a couple of times because, yeah, you have so much wisdom per minute, I think. Probably
Thanks,
because
buddy.
you've been in it for so long and you have your own
Oh, now we got
podcast.
to do another one. We'll do, yeah, I was going to say, now you got to come on my show so we can flip the scripts. I'll shut up, you talk more, and I'll have some fun that way.
Love to. Love to. Awesome. Right, Austin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.